I'm Geeta Mohan. You're watching India Today Global. Some breaking news coming in from Pakistan. Now, a case has been registered against Imran Khan's sister's supporters under Anti Terrorism Act. Pakistan police on Wednesday registered a case under the Anti Terrorism Act against Imran Khan's sister and dozens of his supporters for a protest sit-in outside the Adiala Jail. That's only one of the many things that the Pakistani establishment has been doing for some time now, since Imran Khan was not allowed to meet with his family members, despite a court ruling saying that they were allowed visitation rights every Tuesday. And after a long wait and the very same sit-in protests, one of his sisters was allowed to meet Imran Khan. That's news just coming in. Police has invoked Section 120 of the Pakistan Penal Code. My colleague Pranay Upadhyay will be joining me for more on this. But this is the big story that's coming in. Criminal conspiracy against the state are the charges against Imran Khan's sisters and his supporters. The charges are also of attacking police personnel and violating Section 144. They sat in protest outside Adiala Jail for days after they were not allowed to meet with Imran Khan. His sons have been speaking from London and have raised a lot of concern. His former or ex-wife, Jemima Khan, also had tweeted directly to Elon Musk, raising concerns about how anybody who was raising concerns regarding Imran Khan's health, Imran Khan's status in Pakistan, those posts on X were being subdued or not being allowed to be seen. So those are serious allegations coming in, and it comes at a time when we are seeing a very emboldened Pakistani establishment, the Pakistani Army Chief, now Field Marshal Asim Munir, who is ensuring that everything is done to ensure that the Pakistan Tehreek Insaaf chief stays in jail, is not allowed to meet anybody, and now there are also not just cases against his family members and supporters. There were reports coming in that he's not mentally stable, and all those reports coming in from the establishment. Pranay Upadhyay joins me. Pranay, big news coming in. The sisters and supporters of Imran Khan have been booked under Anti Terrorism Act.
Absolutely, Geeta. This is a clear message being given by the Pakistan's military establishment, Pakistan's hybrid Nizam, that any effort to challenge their authority will be taken to task. And in fact, they are all being booked, including two sisters of Imran Khan, Alima Niazi and Nori Niazi, under the Anti Terrorism Act. In fact, they only asked question that why they are not being allowed, why the family is not being allowed to meet Imran Khan, why the lawyers are not being allowed to meet Imran Khan, why Imran Khan has been put into solitary confinement. But definitely the message is loud and clear by the Pakistan's hybrid Nizam that any effort to challenge their authority, to raise question, will be met with heavy hands. And in fact, now you see the entire family of Imran Khan in Pakistan is being booked by the Pakistani establishment, because Imran Khan himself is in jail since 2023. Imran Khan's wife, Bushra Bibi, is also in jail. And in fact, now the two sisters are also facing the threat of being jailed. So clearly, this is a bigger message to all the political opposition, to all the political opponents of Imran Khan, to the political opponent of the Pakistani establishment. So clearly now something big is happening in Pakistan with the 27th constitutional amendment, Geeta, with which the Pakistan's military chief, Field Marshal, and now the Chief of Defence Forces, Field Marshal Asim Munir, has acquired tremendous and sweeping powers. Now he wants to crush any political opposition. This is a serious thing for world to think. And this thing has come at a time when Asim Munir is preparing yet another visit to Washington, D.C.
Well, that's right. An emboldened Pakistani army chief with a lot of backing and support from Washington, D.C. We'll be talking about that in just a bit from now. But Pranay, stay on with us. There's another important story that we're covering in this show, and that is to do with Prime Minister Modi's three-day tour. After concluding his visits to Jordan and Ethiopia, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has landed in Muscat, that's in Oman, the final destination of his three-nation tour. In honor of the Prime Minister, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali personally drove him to the airport for his departure to Oman. He also shared a heartfelt message on X thanking Prime Minister Modi for his visit and making efforts to strengthen India-Ethiopia relations. Prime Minister Modi is visiting Oman on the invitation of Sultan Haitham bin Tariq. During the visit, the two leaders are expected to have discussion on India-Oman strategic partnership and strengthening cooperation in the economic and commercial sectors. The visit coincides with the 70th anniversary of India-Oman diplomatic partnership. The visit also follows the December 2023 visit of Sultan Tariq to India. This is the second visit of Prime Minister Modi to a Gulf nation. The visit will be an opportunity for the nations to strengthen diplomatic relations, and comprehensive review will be carried out by the leadership. Pranay, coming back to you. It seems like we discussed it yesterday, but it continues. The carpool has become a real fad. But besides that, what can be expected from this visit to Oman?
You're absolutely right, Geeta. We have been discussing that how this car diplomacy is now being seen as the new flavor of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's diplomatic moves and his initiatives. But definitely, this also shows that how the leaders want to bond with Prime Minister Modi, how he is warmly being received. Because this is really something big that the Ethiopian Prime Minister not only received Prime Minister Modi, drove him to his hotel, but also drove him back to the airport to see him off. This is really this kind of standing ovation he received. But in the last leg of his three-nation tour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has landed in Muscat in Oman, and this is the last stopover of his three-nation tour. This is a very significant stop because Oman is the oldest strategic partner of India in the Gulf region. We share historical linkages with Oman. In fact, with independent India, and even before that, under the British rule, India and Oman had traditionally historical business linkages, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit will also seal the comprehensive economic partnership agreement will be signed during Prime Minister Modi's visit, with the petrochemical arrangements and agreements are likely to be signed, deepening the energy security for India. And India and Oman has historical linkages in terms of that there is over 6 lakh Indians are working in Oman. There is Oman first policy in Oman, so Prime Minister Modi's visit is likely to push the interest of Indians, those who are working in Oman.
That's right, Pranay. It might not be the first time that India is engaging the Gulf and West Asia, but certainly in a very focused manner trying to ensure energy security. Thank you so much for joining me for now. Now, the Epstein files controversy is back in the spotlight, this time fueling fresh tensions within the Trump administration. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles has confirmed that President Donald Trump's name appears in the Epstein files, though she stressed he is not accused or implicated in any crimes linked to Jeffrey Epstein. Here's a report by Meenakshi Shandilya.
The famous Epstein files controversy is making headlines again. This time, it's not just about the Epstein files, it's about the internal tensions in Trump administration. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles has revealed that she has personally read the Epstein files and confirmed that Donald Trump's name does appear in them. Speaking to Vanity Fair about the first year of Trump's second term, Wiles clarified that Trump is not accused or implicated in any of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, despite his presence in the records. Wiles further confirmed that Trump's name appears in the flight logs of Epstein's private jet, describing him at the time as a young single playboy who moved in Epstein's social circle. In another striking remark, Wiles told journalist Chris Whipple that although Trump claims he does not drink alcohol, he has what she described as an alcoholic's personality, adding that he can be difficult to manage. Trump later defended Wiles, telling the New York Post that she was right in her assessment and agreeing with her description of his personality. While speaking broadly about the administration, Wiles also made eyebrow-raising comments about other powerful figures. She referred to Vice President J.D. Vance as a conspiracy theorist for a decade and criticized billionaire Elon Musk, accusing him of dismantling the US Agency for International Development, also known as USAID. J.D. Vance, however, came out in defense of Wiles, praising her honesty and consistency.
Well, first of all, if Susie, I'll trust what you said. I haven't looked at the article. I of course have heard about it, but conspiracy theorist. Sometimes I am a conspiracy theorist, but I only believe in the conspiracy theories that are true. Yeah. And by the way, Susie and I have joked in private and in public about that for a long time. And you know why I really love Susie Wiles? Because Susie is who she is in the president's presence. She's the same exact person when the president isn't around. I've never seen Susie Wiles say something to the president and then go and counteract him or subvert his will behind the scenes.
Susie Wiles made her first statement on X after the interview published, saying that the article has distorted her statements about President Trump and significant context was left out of the story. She also praised the 11-month tenure of President Trump's second term in her tweet. The remarks have sparked debate not just about Trump's past associations, but also about deepening fault lines within his inner circle, raising fresh questions about leadership, trust and transparency at the highest levels of the White House. With Meenakshi Chandler, Bureau Report, India Today.
The United States could lose a war against China, not after years of attrition, but quickly, decisively, at a cost Washington isn't prepared to bear. This isn't propaganda, it's the latest Pentagon report from classified war games and simulations. We deep dive in statecraft. Watch this report. The United States would lose a war against China, not after years of fighting, not after exhaustion, but quickly, decisively, and at a cost Washington is not prepared to absorb. This is not an enemy assessment. It is the Pentagon's own conclusion, drawn from classified war games and internal simulations that strip away bravado and expose vulnerability. So when America talks about deterring China over Taiwan, when it signals resolve in the Indo-Pacific, when it reassures allies, one reality hangs over all of it. Does the world's most powerful military still have the capacity to win the war it is most likely to fight? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. This is not Chinese propaganda. This is not a hostile intelligence leak. It is the Pentagon's own internal judgment, drawn from classified war games, simulations, and intelligence studies. A document so sobering that when a senior U.S. national security official read it, he reportedly turned pale. The report is known as the Overmatch Brief. It was prepared by the Pentagon's internal think tank, the Office of Net Assessment, and it warns in stark terms that America's long-standing military advantages are eroding at a pace faster than Washington has been willing to admit. The assessment was first detailed publicly in an opinion piece cited by the New York Times editorial board in December 2025. Its core message is devastatingly simple. In a large-scale conflict with China, especially over Taiwan, the United States would suffer catastrophic losses without a fundamental overhaul of how it fights wars. But this looming US-China confrontation does not exist in isolation. Its shockwaves extend far beyond the Taiwan Strait, and one of the most consequential theaters affected by this shifting balance is South Asia. For years, Washington projected India as a central pillar of its Indo-Pacific strategy, a democratic counterweight to China, a strategic partner, a security anchor in Asia. That assumption is now under strain. As the US recalibrates its global priorities under Donald Trump, New Delhi is increasingly uneasy about where it truly stands in Washington's hierarchy. At the same time, the US has quietly softened its posture toward Pakistan, re-engaging Islamabad, particularly Rawalpindi, reopening channels, framing Pakistan once again as a useful interlocutor, if not a frontline ally. Pakistan today is a debt-ridden state operating under IMF bailouts with an economy increasingly tethered to Beijing's goodwill. Chinese investments come with leverage, strategic leverage. Militarily, Pakistan relies heavily on Chinese hardware, fighters, drones, missile systems, joint exercises, intelligence cooperation. In any US-China conflict, Islamabad would face a stark choice. And the reality is this: Pakistan is unlikely to cross China to assist the US, not when its economic survival and military backbone are tied to Beijing. For India, this creates a dangerous strategic triangle: China to the north and east, Pakistan to the west, both linked by deepening cooperation, both aligned against Indian interests. And yet, New Delhi cannot be certain of unconditional US backing, especially when Washington itself doubts its ability to fight and win a major war against China. The leaked Pentagon report forces an uncomfortable question. If the United States is struggling to deter China in the Pacific, how credible are its security assurances elsewhere? For India, the implication is clear. Strategic autonomy is not a slogan, it is a necessity. For Pakistan, the calculation is equally stark. Betting on China offers short-term survival, but long-term subordination. And for the United States, the warning could not be clearer. The era of uncontested military dominance is over. Pakistan is edging closer to Russia for cheaper and more secure energy as talks expand from crude oil purchases to refineries and even steel plants. But beyond economics, this deepening engagement raises sharper geopolitical stakes. Will Washington apply the same sanctions yardstick to Pakistan as it has to India? Farhan Khan with this report.
Pakistan is exploring a deeper energy partnership with Russia, with talks now underway between the energy ministries of both countries. Pakistan's Finance Minister Mohammad Aurangzeb has confirmed that discussions cover oil exploration, production and refining, areas where Moscow has long-standing expertise. Islamabad has already started purchasing Russian crude oil since 2023, a move that gained momentum after Western sanctions pushed Moscow to find alternative markets. Now, both sides are looking at a broader oil sector agreement that could lock in long-term cooperation. One proposal on the table is the upgrading of a refinery in Pakistan, with Russian companies potentially involved. Russian Energy Minister Sergei Sivilev had flagged the idea earlier, signaling that Moscow is willing to invest not just in selling oil, but in Pakistan's downstream energy infrastructure as well. There is more. Pakistan and Russia are also discussing the possibility of building another steel plant, pointing to a wider industrial relationship beyond hydrocarbons. But this story doesn't exist in isolation. It raises two uncomfortable and politically sensitive questions. First, the United States factor. US President Donald Trump has imposed tariffs and penalties on India for continuing to buy Russian oil, arguing that such purchases indirectly support Moscow's war economy. The question now is whether Washington will apply the same pressure on Pakistan. If Islamabad deepens energy ties with Russia without facing similar punitive measures, it will strengthen the perception that US sanctions policy is selective, tough on India, flexible with Pakistan when strategic interests align. Second, the China angle. Beijing has quietly encouraged closer Pakistan-Russia ties as part of its broader Eurasian strategy. China already has deep economic stakes in Pakistan through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, and bringing Russia into the mix helps create a loosely aligned bloc that dilutes Western influence in South and Central Asia. This triangular dynamic matters for India. New Delhi has historically maintained strong energy and defense ties with Moscow, even as it balances relations with the West. A Russia that becomes more economically embedded with Pakistan under China's strategic umbrella could complicate India's long-standing comfort with Russia as a relatively neutral partner in South Asia. Will this shift fundamentally alter India-Russia relations? Not immediately, but it does signal that Moscow is diversifying its partnerships in ways that may no longer automatically align with Indian interests. With Farhan Khan, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
Australia is in deep mourning after a brutal terror attack at Sydney's Bondi Beach left 15 people dead and at least 40 injured. Among the injured, there are Indians too. Australia's gun laws are also facing renewed scrutiny in response to the attack. Meenakshi Shandelia with this report.
Australia is reeling after a brutal and inhumane terror attack by two gunmen at Sydney's Bondi Beach, which left 15 people dead and at least 40 injured. Among the injured are 3 Indian students. 2 of them are currently receiving treatment in hospital. Australian authorities have not yet disclosed their names. The Jewish community in Australia has now begun holding funerals for the victims of the mass shooting. The first to be laid to rest were 2 rabbis killed in the attack. The initial funeral was held for Rabbi Eli Schlanger, widely known as the Bondi Rabbi. Schlanger, who was 41 years old, was born in Britain and had recently become father for the 5th time. Later, funeral services were held for Rabbi Yaakov Levitin, who was 39 years old, at Macquarie Park in Sydney's northwest. Police say Naveed Akram and his 50-year-old father opened fire on a crowd during the Hanukkah by the Sea celebration. A Sydney shop owner emerged as a hero after disarming one of the attackers, while a married couple was killed after physically confronting the gunmen. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese paid tribute to their courage.
Well, I pay tribute to Boris and Sophia Gurman, who Boris attacked one of these terrorists as he got out of the car, and that caused Mr. and Mrs. Gurman, who'd been married for 60 years, to lose their life. To Reuben Morrison, who threw bricks and took action to try and stop this occurring, also murdered by these terrorists. These are Australian heroes.
In the aftermath of the attack, Australia's gun laws have come under renewed scrutiny. The Vice President of Gun Control Australia said the shooting was carried out using lawfully acquired firearms, calling the situation dangerous.
Of course it was the guns. And without the guns, they couldn't have carried out the mass shooting. These people in the shooters' party, the gun lobby groups, have been too busy listening to the American model proffered through the NRA. And we know that what that's done for community safety in the United States. It's destroyed it. And we don't want that to happen in Australia. The reality is that the guns that were used in this event were lawfully acquired.
The attack was not random. It was targeted. There is definitely a need for stricter laws to prevent such inhumane activities in future. Bureau Report, India Today.
That's a wrap on this edition of India Today Global. But before I go, $1 billion showdown is playing out behind closed doors in Hollywood, a fight that could redraw the map of global entertainment. Warner Brothers Discovery Board is expected to take a decisive call as early as Wednesday on a takeover bid that could permanently shift the balance of power in the streaming wars. Shitaja with this report. Goodbye and take care.
More than $100 billion is on the line, and Hollywood's future may hinge on a single boardroom decision. Warner Brothers Discovery's board is weighing a high-stakes takeover battle that could decide who controls some of the world's most powerful stories and the streaming platforms that deliver them. Warner Brothers Discovery's board is expected to advise shareholders to reject Paramount Skydance's $108.4 billion all-in-cash takeover bid, according to sources familiar with the deliberations, a move that could stun markets and reshape the global entertainment industry. If confirmed, the move would be a dramatic twist in an intensifying race for one of the most coveted content libraries in entertainment history, a vault that spans nearly a century of storytelling. From timeless classics like Casablanca and Citizen Kane to global pop culture juggernauts like Harry Potter and Friends, Warner Brothers' catalogue is among Hollywood's crown jewels. The company also owns HBO Max, a heavyweight in the global streaming ecosystem. Instead of accepting the higher cash bid, Warner Brothers Discovery appears poised to stick with Netflix's earlier proposal, which targets the company's known cable assets. Earlier this month, Netflix surged into the lead with a $27 billion cash and stock bid, a move that would massively expand its content firepower and strengthen its dominance in the streaming wars. Paramount CEO David Ellison countered by taking his pitch directly to shareholders, offering $30 per share in cash for the entire company. But confidence in Paramount's bid has been shaken amid questions around its backers. One of the key supporters is Affinity Partners, led by Jared Kushner, the son-in-law of US President Donald Trump, a link that has added political scrutiny to the deal. That scrutiny is now coming from the very top. President Donald Trump has publicly raised concerns over a potential Netflix-Warner Brothers Discovery combination, warning that the scale of such a deal could trigger monopoly issues due to Netflix's already dominant market position.
Oh, I know the companies very well. I know what they're doing, but I have to see what percentage of market they have. We have to see the Netflix percentage of market, Paramount, the percentage of market. I mean, none of them are particularly great friends of mine. You know, I want to do what's right. It's so very important to do what's right.
Behind the Paramount Skydance bid is the heavyweight financing. $41 billion in new equity from the Ellison family and Redbird Capital, along with $54 billion in debt commitments from Bank of America, Citi and Apollo. Still, regulatory and political headwinds are adding uncertainty to the offer. Markets are reacting cautiously. Warner Brothers Discovery shares slipped 1.3% in pre-market trade, while Netflix climbed 1.8%. Paramount stock edged down 0.7%. As streaming giants battle rising costs, slowing subscriber growth and fierce competition, analysts say the stakes could not be higher. The winner doesn't just acquire content. They acquire power, leverage, and a decisive edge in the global streaming wars. With a board decision now imminent, the focus shifts to shareholders and to which media titan will ultimately secure one of Hollywood's most powerful and storied entertainment empires. With Kshitija Gosavi, Bureau Report, India Today.